Team Gambit. Good evening, viewers. It's Africa Mariah from Uganda, Kampala. It's a good evening from Uganda and good day, good your time. Uh, and of course, today's discussion is emotional. I always say emotional, I know, because matters concerning Africa are always so emotional when it comes to me. And I'm so sorry, guys. I've not been able to text in that group because my phone actually shut down. But if you watch me and you are in the Blackwood Fire Network WhatsApp group, please you can text the guys and inform them that I'm live. Sorry, I did not call you guys. I did not inform you that I'm going to have a live broadcast. But yeah, usually this is my time. So, but I'm not like saying you're obligated to know, but. Um, I know some others will know that it's my time, so they will try to check around. Now, Africa is vulnerable. This is the topic today. Um, you know, I will say my mom. My mom is looking at me, and when I try to look at her, she turns her head away, and then that's very funny. Sorry, we are having people constructing a little bit nearby, so but I still hope that the voice, I mean the noise, does not distort or disturb us. Now, Africa is very vulnerable because of disunity. It is necessary and indeed urgent for Africa to begin and think as one whole, because it's actually, if we remain in disunity, we will remain weak and very vulnerable. We always call upon Africans to be united. This preaching began way back, I believe, in before Black Hot Fire Network. Even it began way back with our pan-Africanists, those people who had a strong cause for Africans. The days of course, Kwame Nkrumah, like people say, he's a seller, buyer. Um, but he also preached about that. With a lot of African Pan Africans who spoke about Africa's unity, and of course, they were calling upon Africa unity. We saw the likes of Idi Amin of Uganda calling upon Africans to be united. We saw very many Thomas Shankaran and a lot of many others that I will not be breaking their names because there are so many. Until today, we are still talking about this unity, and we are not seeing action taken into place. But well, I think and I believe the reason as to why we are going through whatever we are going through is because we are not united as African people. We are not united, and this unity was caused upon us way back during the days of colonialism by the colonial masters who had to build boundaries. The boundaries we have are temporary, they're not permanent, but we made them so permanent. They discussed this boundary in Berlin, Germany, where they held a conference and decided among themselves that they are going to partition Africa, and they are going to partition Africa in order in order for them to control us easily. So the partition of Africa made it easy for them to control us, and also for them to know the demarcations of where their power stops and whose power begins. But yeah, Africa, we have made these boundaries so permanent, both in our minds, and though we inherited these boundaries from the colonial masters, we have turned these boundaries to be inheritary, and you are forwarding this to our children and the generations to come. Now, this is the just as democracy is to Africa. Now, we talk about democracy in Africa. We define democracy, in a white man's kind of way. Because if we look at democracy, one, democracy comes with the terms of a government. You have to lead to a certain term and step down. A democracy comes with elections, so somebody must be elected, for that person to be in power. Democracy comes with apparently like three things actually. And the way we define this democracy in Africa, we shall either define it in an English term. For those ones who are colonized by English, we shall define it by in a French term. Sorry, for those who speak French, we are colonized by the French people. We shall define this in Spanish for those who are still colonized by us. We shall define it in the language of our colonial masters. We have never defined democracy in African way. And I feel like these now we're looking at the basics as to why we are going through what we are going, and that's why it's going to be so hard for us to unite. Though, if we do not unite, we shall remain vulnerable to manipulation. We are being manipulated by the demarcations that were built temporarily by our colonial masters. We are being manipulated by the languages we speak. You are English, we are French. You can see the war that is going on in Cameroon, where the English speaking people are fighting the French, and those in Amazon and blah blah. So people are killing themselves. You understand? And this is going on all over Africa. So everything that they introduced to us that was even temporarily, we have embraced the things and feeling like maybe they have become us. They are defining Africa. Like I say, democracy has never been defined in an African term. Now you cannot bring democracy to Africa because Africa has, is it has a diversified languages. We have very many different languages in one geographical area. In Uganda, we have almost like um, even to like 40 something languages in this country. We have more than even there are 45 plus languages in Uganda. You can see how small this country is, but we have very many languages. Now, how does the politics of Africa work? I do not win elections if the person who has won does not speak my language. Okay? That's why after every election in Africa, there must be a conflict. That's why whenever someone wins in Africa's politics, there is a group of people that will still fight because they believe, no, 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 no. I voted for my tribe mate. I voted for someone who speaks the same language with me, so I couldn't have failed. That unsatisfying kind of life, that unsatisfying results that most of the Africans always receive after the elections and after declaring who has won the election, that leads to Africans to fight because they are not in agreement of this democracy. You are leading a country that has more than 50 tribes. People are speaking different, no, no, I will not say tribes because tribes are a little more larger. Let me say languages. Now, people are speaking more than 57 languages in that small country, and you are speaking, of course, one language and you are leading them. So, most of these people, you find every president is backed up by their tribe mate, by someone who is speaking their language. Mama will tell them, by someone who is speaking their language. So if that person who is speaking their language does not win elections, they feel like it is not right. And these very people who won the elections keep on pushing this same person to stay in power because they don't want this person to stay down because they feel they will not, they feel they will have lost. You have to keep him in power. He's our son. He's our father. He's our treatment. No matter the bullshit that person will be doing, they have to make sure they keep this person in power. And that's why in Africa's leadership, it is crazy, more especially with this democratic kind of leadership. You find people creating ghost officers, presidents, vice president, deputy vice president, another president, like five officers all lined in one, which are even useless. You find that even others don't have duties because someone has to fulfill to carry all his people into these fields. You understand? You have ministers, and the chain, that the names and the chain goes endlessly. They are building all these ghost offices to consume Africa's money, to consume the taxpayers' money, to do a lot of bullshit simply because you have to make sure you satisfy the people whom you speak the same language. You have to satisfy the people with whom you speak the same language. So that's why you are saying it is very hard. It is so very, people always said, I'll use an example of the Zimbabwean president. You know, people always say that Robert Mugabe has stayed in power for a very long time. To the extent people say that he usually used to read the votes. The elections were so unfair, and sometimes to the point that they even, say that maybe they're going to do away with elections so no Robert Mugabe can stay in power. Now, before we start arguing, people could look into the language that the tribe, the language Robert Mugabe speaks, and the population in Zimbabwe. So you find that people are just voting someone who is speaking the same language with them simply because they believe we don't want to be losers. Now in Uganda we have the likes of Bobi Wine, of course, who is being supported by a lot of the Baganda people, more especially the people in the central part of Africa, sorry, of Uganda. So you find everyone, even people are ready to die for him. Our son, even the old people. If we have someone of our language come into power, we shall be different. We shall not remain the same. We shall occupy the offices. They don't even care. People will celebrate, from the herdsmen, from the fishmongers, from the farmers, up to the top. People will celebrate and jubilate for the fact that the person of their tribe, the person who speaks their language, has won election, not bothering if these people are capable of leading them. So in Africa, it's not about leadership, it's not about the capability and the potential you have to lead us. It is the language you speak. And that's why we are living a lame country. And that's why we are so vulnerable to manipulation, because we are giving people who don't have the potential to lead power to lead. In Africa, it's always about what language does he or she speak. And that's the problem we are facing. The demarcation, the tribes, the different languages, the boundaries which are created in Berlin, Germany. They are artificial, but they have never been artificial in Africa's mind. We have made these boundaries so permanent that the hate we feel towards our other black people outside our boundaries is so huge. It's very funny. Sometimes that's why I love staying in my small country. It's not that I don't like visiting other places. I hate when I come a place and I want to feel like an African, and then the first thing you will say, she seems to be a Ugandan, and you're a Ugandan. Okay? Why? Why should we have that kind of identification? I'm not like trying to say I'm not proud of being a Ugandan. I'm proud. I wouldn't wish to be something else. And I will never wish to be something else. But you feel like people have it in a different way. Okay? So you go out, you look at your other African, someone is just cheating someone as you are both buying stuff, simply because this person doesn't we don't come from the same area, and then you feel like the person is not You feel like the person is not a Ugandan or is not your tribe mate, so it's okay for you to cheat that person. Okay. So these are the demarcations we are talking about, the boundaries that we even created, not only in the on the land, but also in our mind as African people. Now it is we are living what, of course, Damuzungu said during the days of uh, colonization, that divide and rule. Divide and rule is actually working. That's why our Pan African leaders in history once said that the white man has just withdrawn from controlling Africa, but he's going to control Africa with all the venom he has, silently without even Africans understanding. The colonization was the genesis of this. That was them laying their balls down to play, and we are in the game. They're already playing this with us. Them coming to colonize us was them laying their balls down to play. We thought if we gain independence, you cannot gain independence while you're leaving the demarcations and the boundaries. These boundaries and demarcations that were made by the Mzungu to Africa will still remain. And the day someone will wake up and say, we are stopping these boundaries, I feel like we shall have an end in conflicts. Why? Because everyone wants to be a president, everyone wants to be a leader, everyone wants to control their, you know, territory. So if we say Africa is one, that means Nigeria is not going to have Buhari. Buhari will say, "Ah, that means I may not even be a president anymore. I will have to answer to somebody else." Okay, you got Museveni will say, how is that even possible? That means I will not be. Someone else will say the same. And imagine if we are having a president in a country, but still conflicts be taking place simply because they are disagreeing with the person in power. People will be killing each other. Imagine if you had one president in Africa, how many people will be dying? The Nigerians will start attacking the Cameroon people. You guys, we did not agree with what it should be our president. Now, this is the African mindset and how we understand things. Okay, the Kenyans will be attacking Ugandans. We did not agree. You guys are the ones who voted. So the war will keep on, the struggle will keep on like that endlessly. So we shall have endless, endless, and endless conflicts in Africa if we decide to say that we are removing these demarcations, and of course we are having one president coming into power, and we are making it as one Africa. But we can still make it one Africa, united Africa, through different things: free market, free movement, free settlement. You don't need to be a Nigerian to settle in a Nigeria. As long as you agree to comply with the laws in Nigeria, let Nigeria allow you to stay. If you are agreeing to comply with the laws in Uganda, let Uganda allow you to stay. If you are agreeing to comply with the laws in Kenya, let it be the same. Why should I pay for a visa to travel to Nigeria? Why should I? Because I'm telling you now, this is the greediness. If we give in, we shall not benefit from them. It's always about you benefiting from who and who is benefiting from the other. How are we going to cheat them? How are we going to gain from their resources? How are we going to do this? We have to show them we are powerful. This is what is going on in Africa. And please, whoever is watching, you can drop in your comment and say hi. Let me know who's watching. Oh, Jibi Jabba, I hope you're watching. Robert Williams, I hope you're watching. I don't know what's going on, but I'm not seeing your comments. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's my network, but whatever it is, it's okay. We'll be good. I'm not like yesterday. Some of you were dropping in your comments, and I was not responding to these comments because I was not, seeing the comments. And I hope it's not the same today. I hope it's not the same. I see my network is down a little bit, but I believe I'm still going live, though I'm not seeing the viewers. I guess whatever it is. So this is what is happening in Africa, and a lot, of course, of shit going on. We are living a divide and rule, a divide. Divide and rule, because the Mzungu knew, the Mzungu knows his game, and maybe the Mzungu you know, understood how we view things. The only thing that kept us united were our tribal leaders. You answer to your tribal leader. If you're having any conflicts, tribal leaders would sit together. They decide, we are going to construct a road that is going to pass through your area. So it's going to help us deal with this and that. So, what are you saying? And once the tribal leader would agree, there is no way other people would refuse. So people will say, okay, if it's going to be that way, fine, let it be that way. So people would agree on that, which is not the same with this kind of, politics. Of course, if a certain tribe is not in agreement with their leader, a lot will take place. Like I always told you before, no, I never told you about this history of one of the Ugandan leader some time back, um, who actually was in power, and he was killed. Uh, no, he was a vice. I'm not gonna mention it because the conflict like really still goes on up to now. So he was, a vice president of a certain leader, and during the conflict, one of the president failed. Ujye mama reka kubaza mu. So yeah, sorry for that. I guess it was an internet problem, but I'm back up. So like I was telling you guys, then after when the president in power at that time found out that this colleague had betrayed him, according to his thoughts, or because it's not sure whether he was betrayed. He went and like was like giving him, a vacation to his home area, and this guy went to his back to his own home area, and then he was killed actually brutally murdered. They murdered him and his entire family. So they made it look like other people are the ones who did it. But now, one thing that was sure about this is that it is not that very person in power who did it, but he sent his very tribe mates to commit this shameful crime. But it left conflicts within the tribes. By the way, the truth is voodoo exists in Africa. It does. So these people went to the shrines and places where they practice, voodoo, and they did some stuff before they buried him. And they bought sacks of simsim. I don't know if you guys know simsim and nuts, sorry, and millet, like 7 sacks of all of these things, and they buried it underground. They did some voodoo on these very sacks, and they claim that who tempered to kill him and his family, whoever touched his body, whoever slaughtered him, whoever killed him, his family and his generation, these generations will die until the dead bodies amount to each seed of those things that they buried with him. Now, little did they know that it is their very tribe that betrayed, because for them they believed they loved him simply because he was someone speaking their language. He was in power blogging for them, the government building hospitals in their area, building schools in that area. The roads were superb. This man was making it sure that in every budget that is read, his people must be included. There must be something developmental. So these people on casting, they believe there is no one who speaks their tribe who may hate this man. So they cast, and actually, these people have been in conflicts. People died for a very long time. They had wars that even were so very hard to end because there were internal conflicts within themselves because of this. Now, I'm trying to show you how crazy African people are. I know this issue of betraying is everywhere, but I don't care if a Mzungu is betraying another Mzungu, because that's none of my business. My business is about the black people and Africans. But now this is happening because of the hate, of the greed. We are so greedy that we are so blind to see We always talk about Africa uniting to the point that I've seen as some people having forums like United Africa, others will say United States of Africa. That's USA. The Africans have their own USA. If you all be thinking it's the United States of America, Africa have their own USA, and they always say it's the biggest USA. So if you find another crazy African you're talking about, the superpower is USA. So say this our USA, and if you don't know which our USA, my dear, you know go know. I know if I speak about this in a group of some, black Americans will be like, "What the? You want everything to be like ours, like it is yours, whatever." But yeah, so this is how crazy things are. In Africa, it's always greed. The greed is just so much. It is okay for you to do what is right, or to do what you do to feel like to make sure that your children eat, but it can never be okay for you to do such on an expense of another person's life, destroying somebody else. And now it's well, I don't know. You know, everything about it is just crazy. Yesterday we were discussing about how we are imitating people's culture, and in Africa we are embracing things that are very stupid. It was so inappropriate to find a lot of Africans or girl children or women, or moving out at night. African women were always indoors, more especially. I will not say they used not to have their gatherings. They had their gatherings. You would go to a gathering, you find that women have sat together, having, discussion, conversations, plaiting their hair in a gathering communally. Young girls seated around plaiting, mothers plaiting their children's hair, grandmothers telling, storytelling, this was the African. Um, but nowadays it's kind of different, very different. Kakuya Kurungi, very different. That it is okay um, for people to walk at night. I don't know. You can walk at night in a place where you know it is very secure. I don't know. Maybe it's me who's just so like the the least. I don't know. I can be late when I'm always late. 8 p.m. is late for me. I cannot exceed that time. And I usually do that like when I'm going to the other culture center where sometimes I show you guys, like where I'm having discussions with my colleagues at school. But if I like 8 p.m., I'm not home, you will see everyone trying to call my mom and everyone because they know I'm usually at home at that time. And so you will find a lot of things, a lot of crazy stuffs that are going on out in the world. And the reason that's why, like we are saying, people always ask why is it that some people understand differently. You take most of your time consuming this brainwashing information or message through music and all kind of things, you know, they brainwash. The rap music of long time ago, where people used to rap and they were rapping about the truth. They were preaching. So music was very educational. Nowadays, you cannot stand and tell me that music is to educate. Nowadays, music is not about educate. I grew up listening to the kind of music my elder brothers used to listen to. I was not there when Tupac was there. I wasn't born. I was born when Tupac, was already gone. But I grew up listening to his music because my older brothers always did listen to that Tupac music. I grew up listening to Shakur because my elder brothers loved that music. Let me first read the New World Orders. Condon have Colin Jean plan was to create a mixed Maghreb race that adapts the one world culture and one world government. Eh, on Dwight. No commenting. Dwight David, you're welcome on Black or Try Work. You're welcome. Hey, mom was asking post comment. And so yeah, yeah, that's true. So the kind of music that is going on now, you'll hear the melodies, dancing, sorry, the melodies. You will even dance to something that, is bullshit. You will, Africans will even dance to something that is insulting them. They will even dance to something that is insulting their mothers. They will dance to the music that is insulting their children. They will dance to a certain music that is doing shit to them, but they will just dance to that. So, of recent, when it comes to my country again, it's crazy. I don't know. That's why sometimes, okay, I feel like the government is just putting it so hard, but the computer misuse in my country is just so huge. You see, like young girls who are like 6 years, seven, doing a lot of crazy stuff, all in the name of miming some songs. You look at, and those obscene songs that people be singing, full of shit, full of obscene words, full of vulgar languages. And you look at, as someone who is 6 years is dancing to these vulgar songs, making what we call the creative dance that follows these vulgar songs. That means I'm going to dance, you know, my body language is going to speak the words in the songs. Huh? This is what is happening now in my country. So you see people doing shit. On the first, on the New Year Eve, uh, on the New Year Eve, I don't know. By the way, I thank my ancestors for the fact that I'm not someone who likes, huge crowds. I don't like places where there is a lot of noise. I don't like places where there is too much people. That's why even I don't like going in the middle of the city. If I stay there for something like 2 hours, I'll come back when I'm like sick, because the movement of the vehicles, the cars, the noise and everything just disturbs my mind. So the New Year's Eve, people were like going out, and I think this is just a family thing because you live in. We always stay home, so we were at home, and my mom loves watching news. So only to watch on a television where of course they were in I think they were people had gone in a concert to watch some artists performing. And when I think I don't know what happened, but I'm trying to think what could have happened, because this is what we usually see people do. So they shouted to them that we are going to have fireworks, in 3 minutes. So the MC shouted to the audience that we are going to have fireworks. 3 minutes to 2023. Get ready. People started running like crazy. They are going to witness the fireworks. And you know what happened? Children lost their lives. People died. I cannot even imagine. It's just crazy. People started stumbling on others. A mother had, let me see, 5, 6, 8, 10 years children going in a concert with their mom. and these children were stepped on like shit and they died. And other elders, I guess some other elders were drunk because, of course, there is alcohol in these kind of places. So they were drunk that maybe they fell down and nobody cares who is down. We are just running to see the fireworks. Crazy shit. But how in African society, how would even a mother take these young children in such concerts? I don't know how it is done in your countries, guys. You can drop in your comment and tell us. Does the law allow parents to take these little children in such kind of places? Or are we embracing this culture and exceeding its limit? The Muzungu kind of system. Are we exceeding the limits? Because I don't think they will allow young children to be in concerts filled with alcohol, people who are naked. I don't think if it is allowed. I feel like, I don't know. I thought some other things were 18 years plus, more especially those things that happen at night. I feel like they are only meant for adults. But whatever the case is. So these children lost their lives because their parents feel like maybe they have to take their children to see these artists. The artists who are even nowadays, by the way, in Africa, you have to be naked. If you don't sing when you're naked, no one is going to listen to your music. No one is going to watch your videos. You have to be half naked. You have, to scatter your legs anyhow. You don't have to wear a bra so that people can see. So you have, there is, I don't know whether it is a technique or a tactic, like soldiers call it, of enticing people to keep on and watching your videos. You have to be, to have that nudity in them, or I don't know how I can call that shit like that. But that is what is happening. Before now, it was a different. Yeah, I know some African cultures even go naked. I know whenever we talk about some issues, people will be like, you know, I feel like it is not a normal thing. I know in African culture, some people go naked. Some traditional dances, you'll find women are dancing braless, their boobs are outside, like some in South Africa and some in the parts of Uganda, of course. They just, because before we used to wear some kind of clothes which could just cover some few body parts, okay? But anyway, so that's the world. And then we are so polluted that we get excited, you know about some silly things. We are excited about silly things that are not important. If you sing something that has content, no one is going to listen to your kind of music. Everyone wants to listen to sex and nudity, and people be shouting, for those ones who love smoking weed. If you only sing about marijuana, the rest you can sing about other things. So these people know, like, music is a business. People know what the world wants to listen to. Now we can understand what Africa is all about now. People know that Africans love to listen things, they want to listen about sex, they love this. That's why we no longer have music that is very educated. Because nobody's giving a damn. So you're gonna make your concert and you wanna preach about what? They don't want to know. They want to fornicate, they want to do shit. It's life, I know. It's life, I know. Doing shit is shit. Sometimes doing shit is okay, but shit is shit. Nothing can change that. Though we do things and we know maybe they are not right, but we're still doing it anyways. So we can see where our market is focused on, and then we should know the kind of people we are. Okay? We should know the kind of people we are. Dwight is saying that now it is world music, the world music category. Music is a business. If I'm somewhere and I know we got a lot of women who want style, that means I'll bring stylish clothes for them. And I know I'm in a place where a lot of men have I'm in a I'm in a place where we got a lot of men who are smoking. That means you're gonna do that because you know that you will have money. So the world knows we are crazy generation which does not even care. Mm. Which does not even care. So what are they selling to us? They are selling to us things they know that we want to consume. We are people who don't even care. We have videos of a lot of Africans who are singing real things. They are telling us what's happening right now. They are talking about the truth. They are talking about the sick politics. They are talking about, this matrix, the enslavement and all that. Nobody wants to listen. The moment they put in, oh shit, gone are those days. Switch that shit off. So they want to hear mama shaking, you gonna tweet, twig, twig, all that kind of bullshit and other things. To the point that even elders are dancing to that kind of bullshit and they are playing that in their house. Now I'm gonna tell you something funny. You may not even believe it. In our house, we don't play that kind of music. I have a friend of mine one time and she came on, she was like, why? Why do you like a lot of men kind of thing? You like this kind of music, or you know? So it's like I like this kind of music because I grew up listening to this kind of music, and you cannot compare this kind of music to another music, And when it comes to Uganda, it's crazy. There are videos on TikToks. Yesterday, I was even showing my mom. My mom said, "What is going on? This is a young girl, and she has very many viewers. She's doing shit. Her facial expression, her body movement is just so mature. Like doing shit I cannot even do on camera. She was doing shit like that. And it was the mother. Now, I asked my mom, do you think if this child was living together with her dad, would the father allow her mother to to be capturing the daughter on camera while she's doing this kind of bullshit? Hmm? Denny Harrison, you're welcome. And second one, thank you for coming. Uh, of course, Danny says that, yeah, you're right, Dwight. They explained that with the paintings in Denver International Airport. And Danny Harrison said, good music comes from the heart. True, good music comes from the heart. That's true. It comes from the experience. It comes from, I don't know if maybe people feel uh, uh, whatever. But that's how crazy shit is. I don't know if people feel what they sing nowadays because, but yeah, of course they know most people want to hear that. Maybe this is what occupies our mind most. I don't know why people be complaining about life not being good when actually everything seems to be good. The word gives them freedom to do a lot of shit, but it doesn't give them freedom to do the right things. You don't have the freedom to do right things, but you have freedom to do a lot of bullshit. When you do the right things, you are defiling, you're defying, all those kind of things, you know. But this is Africa. We embrace that, we don't want even to listen to the right things. It takes time. I was reading a post where Ugandan men are crazy. I was reading a post where one of a prominent Ugandan man was like, if uh, if you want to know how dumb women are, just ask them to mention like two Pan Africans. Okay, talk politics. Okay, ask them what is going on in the world. Okay, I said, like, okay, so is this how dumb these men think we are? And truth is, the world is lame nowadays because most of the African women are shying away from their truth. We are the ones who are raising these children. It is going to be very hard for a child to grow up, thinking different, because most of the African women don't even want to listen to, you know, apart from them visiting churches, having overnights, calling their pastors daddies and whatever, whatever. They don't want to listen and focus on that truth. Some of them even don't know what is going on in the world. And as mothers, I think this is something that they should be knowing, because you are raising your child for what? You are preparing your children for what purpose, and you are preparing your children for what future? You have to understand and study the future for you to be able to prepare this child for that future. African women are not doing that. We are so reluctant, and that's why we are having too many cowards. We are having too many men who cannot stand up and fight for that truth. We are having too many men who are shying away from the truth. They are so scared because they were not raised right, they were not told, they were not prepared for what is happening right now. Yet, this is a duty, and these are duties of parents. You will never fail to, it baffles me how quick children can learn. Imagine a child will sing a song from the first verse to the end. Imagine if this child was singing a song which is for the African purpose. What do you think will be in this child's mind? That means the child will grow up knowing what's going on. The child will grow up knowing what's happening. The child's mind will be so prepared. This is what the mainstream does. Changing our aspects, changing our culture, the way we understand and see things. We are embracing and defiling our own culture, embracing different cultures, defiling our own, rejecting who we are, feeling pity on the fact that we are black. I'm so unapologetic, and nobody should tell me otherwise. But many people wish they were not African. I wish I wasn't, simply because they don't feel, simply because they don't know what it means to be a black person. I know it's tough. By the way, it's very tough, but it's the best thing that can ever happen to anyone. It's very tough to be a black person. That means you're someone who's going to be judged. The stereotype towards us is so huge. The racism is big. Everyone is focusing on us. Everything that comes for us is so negative. We expect to be killed anytime. You are the evil one. Every sheet is pointed towards us. It is tough to be a black person. That is the best thing that can ever happen to every black person, is being black. So if this is told by parents to their children, It will be a different case. Dwight Davidson's grandmother's school system says serves the colonizers. Why? Why are you saying that? In African tradition, no. In African tradition, the school system was different. We have formal and informal education. When it came to grandparents schooling their children, it was different. It was always not like me standing here and trying to tell you direct stuff. That was meant for men or fathers. But like we like grandmothers, it will be through like storytelling. If you guys have ever heard of you know uh storytelling under the moonlight, so where people could gather under the moonlight at night, and mother people will be singing some songs, African songs, but these songs will be carrying meanings. Now through these songs, kids will learn the songs and they will be singing these songs. Now these songs usually carried information. So they first teach them these songs and then later they tell them, do you know what the meaning of that song is? And they tell you the meaning of the song. Eh, I don't get, sometimes I don't. Dwight is saying that grandmother's school system serves the colonizers. But he means Museveni's wife. She is over Ugandan school. She is the minister of education. She's not the minister of education in the whole of Africa. She only serves in Uganda. And the education system, which serves the colonizers, is not only for Uganda, but for the entire black race. Be it the one you study in America, Dwight Davidson, be it the one in Southern Africa, be it the one in Kenya, be it the one in Nigeria, the education system, even the Americans attain, serves the Mzungu. So I think it is right to put it that way. And think it. I'm always trying to be careful. It is Dwight who's always bringing these issues. I'm always trying to be careful, but he likes talking about those people so much, more especially that woman. How could I have not? You people will see a drone, a drone coming and picking me from here. And thinking one, thank you very much for coming, Danny, Harrison, and of course Dwight. Even though you like talking about that Museveni's wife. Mm-mm. He's the Minister of Education. Actually, the education system. It is going to be very hard for people to change the education system in Africa. And by the way, this whole thing, unless someone dictates about it, most Africans will even rather prefer this Muzungu's education system compared to our own, system that we would wish. And I also know most people wouldn't, because who wouldn't want to tell people the truth about themselves? But because the market demands for something else, I think we should even talk about the market. Okay? It's like you may know the history perfectly well, but that means you are focusing on your getting a job in your own country. That means you are not studying to expand your sources, sorry, your services outside your own country. Now, I feel like most Africans, more especially those who have no knowledge about their history, would rather prefer the kind of history or the kind of education system they study because they don't know that truth. It's going to be hard, and it will take just someone, to be a dictator to dictate that, but most people will debate against it. So, this is how crazy Africa is. So, the education system is not only about Uganda, the education system that serves Mzungu is all over, even in America. So, yeah, I agree. But it's not only in Uganda. And of course, the Minister of Education just came into power. He also found this education system here before. We had some other Minister of Education, but no one changed it. So it has always been like this since the days of Mzungu. Since it is Mzungu who introduced education, like they always say. I've not seen GB Jabba today. I've not seen Robert Williams, Mosquito, Big Cheese. I've not seen you guys. And of course, I'm signing out now. Thank you for coming and thank you for watching Black Hole Fire Network. It's me, Africa Maria from Uganda, Kampala. And second one, thank you so much. Dwight Davidson, thank you for coming. Danny Harrison, thank you. Who else was here with me? I hope, uh, and others who have not commented, but who are watching. Thank you so much for watching. And for those who have a watch or a replay of this, sure. Guys, thank you very much for supporting Black Watch Fire Network. It's always a pleasure having you guys here with me. Have a blessed day. I don't know the time over there, but of course it is evening here and it's soon gonna be night. Already night, I guess. But thank you very much for coming and for watching Black Watch Fire Network. It's me, Africa Maria. I say bye for now. Take care of yourself. Use protection. I mean elements, and of course seatbelts. Ciao. Ciao.